Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are moving forward with our How to Get a Data Analyst Job workshop series with our third episode focusing on data analysis tools and portfolio development. If this is your first time joining us, I highly recommend that you start out from the first episode of the series. You'll find the links in the description or on the screen somewhere right now. We started this series with a comprehensive skill and learning style assessment, which is crucial for understanding the content of the entire series. In this episode, we're going to focus on two key areas. First, we're going to take a look at data analysis tools that aligns best with your current skill set. Whether you're a beginner or already, you have some experience, we're going to try to guide you through choosing the right tools to enhance and complement your current skills. Then we'll talk about how to develop a compelling portfolio. A well-crafted portfolio is crucial for showcasing your skills and projects to potential employers. So we're going to discuss strategies for building a portfolio that not only highlights your technical abilities, but also tells your unique story as an aspiring data analyst. So make sure you have your notes ready from our last sessions and let's get started. So let's take a look at some of the different tools that you need to master as a data analyst. The purpose of this is to give you guys an overview and of course to again try and tie it back to what we spoke of a little bit about before in terms of the assessment and where you think you are today. So the first thing that I think is, no matter where you are, you should start out with Excel. That is because Excel is so widely used. It's so rich and there are so many of the concepts that you will do in data analysis and data analytics that are actually they're quite easy to practice in Excel. So what I've written here, universally accessible and fundamental for all data related tasks. And it's really good for understanding organization and analysis in an environment that you have most likely been exposed to and quite easily can get data into and work with. And I'm then thinking about, sorting data, filtering data, basic formulas, pivot tables, visualization, all of this stuff you can do in Excel today. And you don't need to, go all in to start to do that right away. And I can promise you, almost no matter where you want to work, they are using Microsoft Excel in some sort of capacity. So if you can come in and you can understand how you can do it in a more structured, professional way, that's already value added there from your side. From there, of course, SQL is something that you need to master. It's really the cornerstone for interacting with databases and data which is stored in more structured formats. Then, what are views, what are tables, what are some of the nuances here so that you understand where to go, where to find a lot of stuff and some of the structures that are in the SQL world. And what I've written here is the focus, especially on learning to write SQL queries for getting data out, combining data, doing different things. I've also written updating records, understanding database structures. Again, it's not super necessary, but it's good to just understand some of the nuances and a little bit of the structure of SQL databases. After getting some experience with Excel and SQL as tools, then things starts to open up quite a bit. Someone who is very good at SQL and Excel could for sure get a job as a data analyst. You don't have to know Python and Power BI or Tableau, because it really comes down to which needs can you identify that you can solve with Excel and SQL. And if those are very important for a company, then that might be a good enough start. But of course, you want to transition to Python and then eventually to Power BI and Tableau. With Python, it's like I've written a versatile language for data analytics, a lot of libraries which can help you do a lot of things a lot more faster and more efficient. And especially when we get more into more sophisticated analysis, machine learning and stuff like that, it can be very, very useful. So I've written there, focus on developing skills in data cleaning, manipulation, using libraries like pandas, and then, to a certain extent, you can do the data visualization with MATLAB or Seaborn there. But again, if you're starting out, and you get very good at Excel and SQL, that will actually take you quite far. Python depends on the company, if they're actually using it, if they want to use it. And if you were to bring that knowledge, how would you kind of connect the Python knowledge that you have and be able to apply it? So that's something you also need to think about. But it's definitely a tool which is very useful to look into and learn as a data analyst. Then we come to the visualization part, which I've written Tableau or Power BI. And I think all companies want to have a visualization tool. It doesn't have to be Tableau or Power BI, but they're widely used in different parts of the world. So in today's data-driven world, the ability to visualize the data effectively is crucial. It's essential. Both Tableau and Power BI, they rank very highly each year and are great for creating data visualization, and they're also great for making it accessible and to a certain extent integrate also with other tools depending on the type of stack that the business that you are trying to get a job with have. And of course, the focus here, design dashboards, use it for data storytelling, understand data storytelling so that you understand how you shape the dashboards so that it happens in a logical order. And also a great tool for learning how to show a little bit more complex data in an easier way and make it a lot more accessible. The last thing that I've written is, build on statistical knowledge. That's more theoretical, and I think it is key if you want to work in a role where you need that, or you want to be that type of resource, that you stand out from other types of resources because you also master this. But then I've written here, you need a strong foundation in statistics to make informed interpretations and decisions based on data, and of course enhances your ability to conduct meaningful data analysis, especially with some of the libraries that I mentioned before, like pandas. So if we take those different tools, and I wanted to focus on some of the tools to kind of make myself a more rounded profile as a data analyst, I would definitely spend time on Python to use that to kind of raise my statistical thinking and programming to start to make it more applicable for me, so that I wouldn't just sit and maybe read about it, the concepts. I could learn some of the libraries, I can learn some of the methods, I could apply it, practice, take a look at it, make it more practical. But if I didn't have the capabilities that I have today within data visualization and the tools and SQL and Excel, then I would also start to look at those and ask myself, what kind of role do I want? What are the companies that I've been looking at? And also, where are some of my shortcomings that I'm aware of, and where are my strengths, and try to start to connect those and use that to kind of plan out my time, especially if I'm doing self-studying, to kind of plan it out in an order. Not only an order that makes sense over time, but also an order which makes sense so that I start to learn stuff that I can use quickly to try and apply for jobs and say, hey, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. I know Excel, I know SQL, I know that it's enough to take data from the beginning all the way to the end. I can do that. I'm learning Power BI so that I can visualize it better, but I will at least get you the analysis visualized in Excel. And if that is good enough, then we can start there. And then within 3 to 6 months, I'll be really good at Power BI. Then I can take it all the way there, and I can help you guys understand how to leverage Power BI in the company. That's how you have to start to think, how to put this together and put it in order, which makes sense for you. That moves us naturally into the second focus of this video, and that is, portfolio building and how to showcase your skill sets. So now you should start to get an idea of, where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses, the skills, some of the gaps. But then we can how can you start to showcase, what is good right now? Where are your strengths? Let's start to showcase that. Let's start to showcase projects that shows that. And then you can, over time, over the period that you're set aside and you decide, hey, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to learn this. Over that period, you can start to build and supplement to that portfolio so that it becomes more and more complete over time, as you also become more and more complete over time as a profile. So I've outlined some steps here to create a compelling portfolio. And the first one is to select your best projects. Try to have projects that shows a variety of skills. And I've written data cleansing, analysis, visualization here. And there's a reason for it. I've written all those because you want to show projects that shows you that you can do the different steps, and you don't fall short in any steps on the way. So I've said, personal, academic / professional projects, if you have those, are great, but it's important that you showcase the different steps that is needed from the beginning to the end when you show your projects. Don't just show projects that shows a small piece of the puzzle, because then someone who's looking at it would start to ask about those other pieces. And if you can explain those, great, but it's good to make sure that you have projects that shows all the parts. And you can see as I go down here, it says demonstrate your project. For each project, clearly outline your workflow from problem statement to data sourcing, analysis, and conclusions. Try to do it visually, not too much text. Again, the portfolio is to showcase and give a high level and just show the different steps and something you can talk around, maybe during a job application process. The next thing is, you have to showcase some technical proficiency. So, SQL, Python, Tableau, Power BI, etc. Wherever your strengths are and whatever you worked on, you should showcase that. But don't show everything. If you worked on a lot of different stuff a little bit, then try and figure out, what have I worked on the most and showcase those things. And then think about, okay, when I'm showcasing these skills, does that show those different steps that I want to take you through? So I've written here, include snippets of code or screenshots of complex analysis or visualizations, so that it gets a little more visual. Next page, incorporate real-world data, data sets that are relevant to current industries or issues. Especially if you want to go into a specific industry, you want to try and find data sets and create projects related to that. I've written here, Kaggle or government databases can be good sources for real-world data, but try to be a little bit critical of what type of real-world data it is that you build your projects on. You want it to be data that has a certain feel for, a business issue or a problem or something you're solving, not just any type of real-world data just because you think it's a fun data set or something. The next bullet point is tell your story with your data. Try and make it so that the project tells a story. Articulate the insights, how they provided value. And I think this tip is great. Practice to explain your projects to non-technical people to ensure clarity. Which means that if you explain this to someone and they're not a very technical person or they don't work in this industry, if they don't understand it, or if you show them your portfolio and try and say, hey, can you look at this and kind of, how do you see this? How do you understand this? Try and pick up on what do they find very difficult to understand? What do they think is easier? What are their perceptions? Because it's a very good way of just gauging how someone who doesn't understand this, what do they actually learn from the stuff that you put out there and the way you show it. So I would definitely think about that. Ensure accessibility and professionalism. Basically, make it accessible online is what I've written. Make it organized, make it look nice. Don't go over the top, nice, clean, easy to navigate. I've written, platforms like GitHub, Tableau Public, or a personal website can be used to host your portfolio. I would recommend, a little bit more of a personal web page, and then try to not overflow it with too much stuff going on. And the last one is, as you grow, continuously update your portfolio. You're going to get better. You're going to learn new things. Try and, if you make it simple and to the point, then it's easier to update it. It's easier to maintain it. So you don't have to update a lot of different elements and a lot of different stuff each time. But I've written here, as you complete more projects and acquire new skills, switch out portfolio projects that might not showcase a skill as well as before, or add one new that completes it more. I think you will know best yourself here. And I've written, like I said, treat your portfolio as a living document that evolves with your career, so that it develops and it gets better as you get better. As an example, I'll walk you guys through this portfolio that I put online. I think it's almost 2.5 years ago now, so this one is quite old per se. And when I look back at it, there's so many things that I would have done differently, or I could improve it. But I do think some of the concepts, the basic concept stands very strong in it. And that is that it's easy to, when you get into it, of course, my welcome page is more connected to this YouTube channel, but it's easy to see the navigation. If you go into the sales management project, right away I have some visuals that shows a little bit of the elements. I start with setting the tone, what is the problem? What is the business asking for? What are some of the user stories that I've created to start this story? And then I go into the technical stuff. It's a logical order in terms of the first figure out what is the context, the story. Then a little bit about the next step, which is SQL and different tables. I have some explanations in here. Then I show the data model, which is how things are connected together. You see the tables generated. Now it becomes a model, and then at the end, it goes in and becomes a sales management dashboard, and you can even click it to open it and try it out. So I can put the link to this in the video, but just think about the order, the level in which I go into detail, the mix between text and graphical elements. It's quite easy to follow. So if we try to keep that portfolio that I just showed you guys a little bit in the back of my head, then you can also start to think about this. How do I actually show it online? So here, choose the right platform. I know that depending on what it is that you're trying to showcase, GitHub for code-based projects, Tableau for public for visualizations or Power BI, LinkedIn for professional networking or a personal website. All these are different platforms where you could, create a portfolio and showcase it, but make sure that it aligns with your skills and what it is that you're trying to showcase. And what I mean by that is, if you're going for something like a data science role where there is a lot of programming code, then maybe GitHub is the right thing, because then you're showcasing, you're communicating that, hey, I know how to use GitHub also. I know how to structure that, and I can work in that. Tableau, if you're a data analyst and you want to go for a company that has, or companies, or that uses Tableau because you really like Tableau, then maybe that's where you want to make sure that you host your visualizations. If you do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, maybe you share some stuff on LinkedIn, or you like to post there, then maybe there you should have on your page, it should showcase some of the elements or projects that you have worked on, or create a personal website with a specific focus. But try to think about which platform. For most of you, I think it'll be a personal website or a GitHub for code-based projects. But think about it. I think it's super important is to make it clean and make it look professional. Don't overdo the design. Simple, uncluttered, highlight your projects. Remember what you're there for. You're there to sell yourself and show your projects. Easy to get to the projects, easy to find them, and it's easy to just slowly but surely just navigate through. And if you want to present them, it's easy for you to present it also. Make sure that the different projects has a clear description, the objectives. Make sure it's easy to understand the tools. If you can talk a little bit about which methodology and what was the outcome of what you created, what did you discover. Visual elements are always great. Screenshots, graphs, videos if you want to, but I think screenshots and graphs is okay. And then instead of the video, you can aim for being yourself that presents it live when it happens. Some other pointers, provide links to live projects or code repositories. If you have a dashboard and you can host it online, then do what I did, show a link so that you can go in and click around. Same with code repositories. If you have a code repository which is well structured, easy to navigate, and it looks good, then it's just a bonus to that. Make sure the links work, and that wherever they end up, it looks good. The other ones are testimonials or endorsements. If you have those, if you have third parties, people who can give those, then past colleagues, supervisors, or clients, why not? Keep your portfolio up to date. As you get better, update it. Latest projects, skills and skill advancements. If you're not where you are in terms of the job you want, you haven't found the right thing, you're still searching, then update it. Swap out projects if needed. It's better to have 3 really good projects than 8 or 9 where someone might not know which one to go to. 3 really good focused ones that showcase the different processes, your project management skills, your organizational skills. And then when you have a portfolio you really think is great, you're starting to get interviews, you can tell, hey, this is good enough now, then of course you need to start to focus on the interview process and that part. The last one is to promote your portfolio. You can share your portfolio on professional networks, especially LinkedIn. I think that's very useful. You have some featured sections on LinkedIn where you can put it. You can also, if you apply to a job on LinkedIn, then you can afterwards, you can apply for the job, and then you can ping the contact person or the recruiter on there and say, hey, if you go to my profile, there are some parts there where I showcase some of this work. I think that would be a good supplement to my already existing application. Even though I hope you are putting of course you're putting your LinkedIn portfolio in your CV or your application or your cover letter. Otherwise, during networking events, another great opportunity to add someone on LinkedIn and ping them, send them a message. Hey, I thought you guys, you had some interesting stuff. Your company seemed interesting, so and so. If you guys are looking for some data analyst or someone to work with data. Here's my portfolio, and it showcases some of my skills. So 2 reflective questions that I have for this episode. The first one is, which one of these tools are you most interested in learning, and really why? And when you think about this one thing is I want to learn it because I know that you need to know. You need to know it to be able to do the job of a data analyst or work in data, but especially the why. And what I mean by that is that you should maybe ask yourself, okay, if I learn this, what would I do for a specific company with this knowledge? And maybe even challenge yourself even further. Find some jobs out there that are listed on the net, and then as you read through, ask yourself, okay, if I was doing some SQL work there, is there anything I can think of that I would do for a company like this? If I was doing something in Power BI, what would I think that I could do for a company like this? Just start to kind of, connect those dots so that if someone asks you that, then it's very useful to have just thought about that and start to think about how you would leverage and use those tools in real companies. The second question is, what kind of projects would you like to showcase in your portfolio? And here you should think about your skill set, where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses, and how do you make that shine in the different projects to really play on your strengths and weaknesses. And hopefully those are the ones that you would like to showcase in your portfolio. And also in terms of role, right? What kind of projects would you like to showcase to make sure that you show projects that align strongly with the roles or companies or industries that I would like to work with? That's also something good to think about. So these are the reflective questions for this episode. And that's a wrap on today's episode. We've taken a deep dive into the world of data analysis tools and explored the art of portfolio development. Remember that the key to success in data analysis lies in carefully selecting tools that not only match your current skill level, but also helps you grow into a more complete professional. So think about how each tool can enhance your capabilities and how you can leverage them to showcase your unique strengths in the field. As for your portfolio, it's more than just a collection of projects. It's a narrative of your journey and skills as a data analyst. Use the insights and strategies we've discussed today to craft a portfolio that not only displays your technical prowess, but also tells your story in a compelling way. I'm excited to see how you choose to focus on specific tools and develop your portfolio. Which tools have you decided to prioritize? How are you planning to showcase your work? So share your journey and projects in the comments below, and I would love to give feedback on some of those. If you found this episode helpful, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps me reach more people and assist more aspiring data analysts like you. Stay tuned for our next episode, Understanding the Data Analyst Job Market, where we are going to take a look at market trends, employer expectations, and how to position yourself effectively for success in the data analyst job market. Thank you for joining me today. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.